By the mid-1600s, the American colonies were thriving, towns were growing, trade was booming, and 13 English colonies stretched along the Atlantic coast. But beneath the promise of prosperity, tension was building, between the freedom the colonists wanted and the control the British Crown demanded. This is the story of colonial America, its growth, its struggles, and the storm that was coming. Colonial America was a land of contrasts. In the north, New England, towns were small, close-knit, and built on faith and community. In the south, vast plantations grew tobacco, rice, and cotton, built on the forced labor of enslaved Africans. Between them lay the middle colonies, New York, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey, centers of trade, tolerance, and opportunity. 13 colonies, each different yet bound by the dream of a better life. Trade connected the colonies to the rest of the world. Ships carried sugar from the Caribbean, tobacco from Virginia, and furs from the northern forests. This web of commerce became known as the triangular trade: goods, raw materials, and enslaved people moving between Europe, Africa, and the Americas. It brought wealth to many, but suffering to millions. The Atlantic Ocean became both a bridge and a graveyard. In the 1730s and 1740s, a wave of religious revival swept through the colonies. Known as the Great Awakening, it called people back to faith and equality before God. Charismatic preachers like Jonathan Edwards and George Whitefield traveled from town to town, inspiring thousands. For many, this spiritual movement planted a new idea that all people could stand equal, not just before God, but before men. Far from the king's reach, the colonies learned to govern themselves. Each had its own assembly, making laws, collecting taxes, and solving disputes. Though still loyal to Britain, a new American identity was slowly taking shape, one that valued hard work, freedom, and self-rule. But across the ocean, Britain saw things differently. To pay for its wars and keep control, the Crown began enforcing strict trade laws, known as the Navigation Acts. Colonists were forbidden from trading freely with other nations. Goods had to pass through British ports, and taxes began to rise. The colonies grew restless. They had built this land with their own hands, yet London still claimed to own it. By the 1760s, frustration turned into open protest. The Stamp Act, the Sugar Act, and other taxes enraged the colonists. For the first time, they began to ask dangerous questions. Why should we pay taxes to a king we never see? Why should we obey laws we didn't vote for? In taverns, churches, and marketplaces, a revolutionary idea began to spread: liberty. Though divided by region and belief, the colonies began to unite. They saw that their strength lay not in being subjects of a king, but citizens of a nation. The spirit of rebellion had been lit, and it would soon set the world on fire. For over a century, the colonies had grown in strength, spirit, and independence. Now, the time had come to break free from the empire that gave them life. In the next episode, The Road to Revolution, from the Boston Tea Party to Independence, 1770 to 1776.